Hey, the ambulance is being a sweetheart this morning. No beeping sound. That's kind of nice. Heading to Pilates, of course. What else? It's cold today, but I have the rest of the day at my house. Let's get jamming. Let's get rocking. One more class down in the books, baby. It's a little bit of a gray day out today. The rest of my day is just gonna be spent at home. Maybe you and I can get out for a walk a little bit later. Maybe a little romantic stroll. Oh man, I'm always like high and cheesy after my classes. Don't mind me over here on the endorphins. My favorite drug of all time. Dopamine and endorphins, nothing like it. So I'm just turning off the stereo here. And I've got my Under Armour leggings on today. Just kind of felt like it was the mood. I really do feel like getting out for a walk today, so you know what, let's do it, shall we? I'll show you a little bit of my neighborhood. So my feet aren't the prettiest. Actually, growing up, my sister would always make fun of my feet. Thank you, dear sister. She would call them Amazonian feet. But I don't know, I think they're beautiful and they carry me through this world. And I just painted my toes last night and I think they're so cute. Also, I've been wearing this toe ring from Cambodia for like 4 years. Legit, I just like never take it off. All right, so if we're going on a walk, we have to be warm because it is winter. Right now I'm in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and my partner and I have been here since May through, I guess what you could say, a rather strange turn of events. A lot of you know this story, but some of you may not know. We had moved to Cambodia earlier last year, so early 2020, which seems so weird to say because doesn't early 2020 seem so long ago? Like lifetimes ago. Oh, there's another good one, guys. I'm coming to see. It's a big one. Sis knobs are here. Woo! Honey and Sopanin are here. Come all the way up.
It's just I remember when they quick.
It's not fair.
When they signed the
I
contract.
didn't go to school. I left. I went as far away as possible when I was 18.
So we had moved to Cambodia, which was a dream of mine for at least a couple years. It just kind of showed up in my, well, not kind of, but it started showing up in my meditations repeatedly. And I knew in my heart that I had to try living in Cambodia. So we moved there, and then when I went to India to get my yoga certification, I was estranged from my partner because the pandemic had closed India down, essentially. So there were no flights going in, no flights going out. And on top of that, Cambodia had closed their borders to US citizens. Fast forward a few months, my partner and I actually experienced quite a rocky period in our relationship. We were just feeling a little bit separate, and we actually were physically separate for about a month and a half. I was in Kalamazoo with my sister. She lives about 5 minutes away from here. And he was still in Cambodia. So he finally came back and we started mending this distance between us, and we ended up just deciding to buy an ambulance. So we bought an old ambulance. I chronicled a bunch of the building out of the van. It was a very arduous, long process that probably took from start to finish about 6 or 7 months. That includes like buying the parts, ruminating, drawing the plans, and actually doing the build out. That was a tough time just because, you know, it was like election period last year and we all went through it together, so we know what I'm talking about. So fast forward, after 5-6 months on the road, when we came back through Kalamazoo, we were tired as hell. So we were just like, let's get a place and just like relax for a minute. And so that's why we're here. I assume that we'll be here until at least May. So that's when our lease ends here. And then after that, I'm not sure. We're reconsidering Brooklyn. And recently Cambodia has started popping up into my visions again, which was a little bit disarming, but I think part of it has to do with the fact that Cambodia is now reopening their borders, which is good. The borders had very stringent regulations on it due to COVID. So virtually for the past 2 years since the pandemic, tourism has been at a complete flat line. So for all of our friends there, geez, you guys are troopers. I don't know, Blair and I have been watching you all from afar, keeping you in our hearts, and also keeping the Cambodian people in our hearts as well, who are maybe low on food or have been starving in the countryside, or who have been out of a job and who have really been struggling. It's hard to talk about this without completely crying. One of my goals in this lifetime is working toward, you know, making a really substantial amount of money where I'm able to donate and give to those in need. I don't know, whew, that makes me really sad. So anyway, the positive is I will be making shitloads of cash, and I'll be able to donate wherever I can to, you know, Colors of Cambodia and other organizations that I believe in. Today, you know, as you know, I'm repping my COC shirt, babies. So if you guys have any extra cash, I highly recommend donating to Colors of Cambodia. The organization offers free art education to all Cambodian children, and the NGO has been operating through the pandemic. I am drifting off. Let's continue getting ready for our walk. So the next thing we need is shoes. These are probably considered chuggy. Actually, I had to do some research, and I know that they're chuggy. I've always wanted a pair of Sperry boots, and I managed to find these at a secondhand store, and they're virtually brand new. So I mean, it was a good store. It's called Plato's Closet, and so it's kind of like, you know, one of those resale shops that really only resells high quality or good quality clothing. I'm definitely gonna wear a hat. I've got this hat, which is a Robert Graham hat. This was gifted to me by my ex-boyfriend Joe. Thank you, Joe. I know he's probably not watching this video, but it's very extra, and it has really beautiful attention to detail. It's so cool. But I actually don't wear it that much. I just found it at my parents' house because I had left it there. Let's go with something a little more understated. Let's go for the mustard yellow hat. This actually was also gifted to me. We've got the hat. We need a warm winter coat. Let's find it. We are now in the boudoir closet. No, I'm just kidding. I don't even know. This is just like the big closet in the front of the studio area. Okay, now, I think the long black coat will work. So here we are. This is an Anne Klein coat made in Slovakia. I found this in a Chicago thrift store years ago. And this has kind of been a staple. The lining is really beautiful. It's like this deep maroon color. And I've also had to sew the lining like 500 times because it's so thin at this point that it tears all the time. And it's probably one size too small, but I kind of like the snug fit of it. So I think I have enough layers on top. See, my ring is actually like snagged in the inner lining. Oh God, it's a struggle. This might have to be one of the coats that ends up going into the donatable goods I have racking up over here. Can you see what I mean about like this coat being like a nice tight fit? But it's kind of cool because you can like pop the collar up there and... Okay, we're bundled in. Let's go, babies. So here's the actual fit, and I got this really cool vintage black purse from a Goodwill. I freaking love it. I have a really keen eye for high quality. This is a really nice genuine leather purse, and I believe that this is actual sterling silver because it feels just like really heavy and high quality. And then on this side, whoever previously owned it put this like really cool Italian keychain on it. I love you so much, honey. You're such a good girl. Yes, you are. You're such a good baby girl. You know, coming out here on this walk, I realize it has been a while since I've actually just taken myself on a walk. If you're feeling like you're stuck in a rut and you're just kind of going throughout your daily routine, which I literally have been for weeks, it feels like, it's so important to break up the routine. You know, try a new coffee shop, take yourself on a walk, go somewhere you haven't been before or somewhere where you haven't been in a while. Up here you can see the cemetery. Well, you might not be able to see it yet, but it's up there in the distance. It's a very historic cemetery and it's built on a bunch of hills, just like much of the rest of Kalamazoo. I've always been really partial to cemeteries just because they're very quiet and peaceful. Favorite areas of Kalamazoo, and I believe that this is one of the higher points in Kalamazoo because right now I'm on top of a huge hill, and over here to the east you can see downtown actually, and you can also hear the train coming in. So you can see some of the buildings way in the distance downtown right there through the trees, and then it spans all the way over here beyond. You can see the houses. This is the neighborhood that I live in. Just beyond these houses, a couple streets over. You could be a completely different person tomorrow than you are in this very moment. Thinking about since the start of the pandemic and how much has changed in our culture, in our own souls, in our own beings. Oh my God. I feel like I've aged 5 years. I'm not happy about it. I know that something redemptive is coming out of this, you know, whether it's the shift in the focus toward our families and toward what we really want and desire. I don't know. I'm kind of in this period in my life where I'm not really sure quite who I am or what I'm doing, and maybe some of you can relate. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm not sad about it. I'm striving for complete authenticity, and it's fucking difficult because I feel like I have something in front of me and I'm trying to consistently break that down. I think that's why my meditations have been so painful lately, because it's hard for me to lean in to the uncomfortability that I'm experiencing.
I am down.
Maybe we change everything. Maybe we change our chapstick from cherry to mulberry. Maybe we switch our closets out and wear wild clothing that we would never otherwise consider. Maybe it's something as small as your toothpaste, or, you know, going on a walk like this and not wearing your headphones, God forbid. I'm so glad I got out today for this walk. Going out, being with yourself, it's a remembrance of who you are. Geez, this walk turned out rather serious, didn't it? I really am in a good mood. I'm just feeling reflective today. My neighborhood, which is that way, is actually right near the historic district. So spanning from here all the way to West Main, you'll find is riddled with historic houses. And then up here at the stoplight is North Ave. Just beyond North Ave, the rents, the price of the houses, everything gets a little bit lower and everything gets a little bit more rough around the edges. And our street, Summit Street, is just beyond North Ave. So right up there. So I'll give you a little glimpse of our neighborhood bodega. Here's kind of the dividing line of North Street. And just beyond, you'll see Cookies 5-Star Grill across the street. We haven't actually tried them yet, but I think they do like mostly soul food. And then there's like a car wash over there called Snap's Spot. The guy that runs that's very nice. We talked to him before. And then right up here, you'll see Dacia's. This is pretty much our equivalent of what would be our New York bodega. They do have some fashion wear here. I've never really gotten in there, but we get soda waters here. You can also get fresh cut meat, clothing, check cashing, and Western Union. And we have a Black Lives Matter sign. Sorry for the noise, but here's Dacia's. So yeah, there's usually like a little party going on in the parking lot. It's a very interesting place. All right, we are back on Summit Street. There were just a few houses in on the right. And it's kind of cool, the guy across the street has been here for 50 years, solid homeowner. Here's our cute little house. We actually rent out the lower portion of the house, which is rather big. The house is split into 2 different apartments, upper and lower. And our apartment is actually very, very recently, like literally right before we moved in, renovated. So it's super nice. I'm about ready to go in and get warm because it is gray and cold out here. Thank you guys so much for joining me in today's Vlogmas number 9. Can you believe it? I've just been having such a good time hanging out with you and showing you little parts of my life. And yeah, we'll see you in the next vlog.